little bit of talking about Teach NC and pass it to my friends at UNC Wilmington. So our charge at Teach NC is to make sure that we put um, qualified teachers in the classrooms. Unfortunately, North Carolina was not spared when thinking about the teaching shortage across the country. And so we want to make sure folks who want to be in the classroom, who are passionate about kids, passionate about the state of North Carolina, are those that are elevated to be teaching in the classroom. And I should share that I started out as a high school history teacher at Guilford County, Southern Guilford High School, and at Graham High School in Alamance County. So I 1000% have been in an EPP. My EPP or educator prep program was UNCG. So I will briefly talk about how to get licensed, but our friends at UNC Wilmington are going to talk to you about their residency program. So I'm just going to go over it very quickly. The first thing we want to ensure is, do you have a bachelor's degree? So in order to apply to a residency program, you've got to have a bachelor's degree. And for the sake of my piece, it doesn't matter what your bachelor's degree is in, because UNC Wilmington will ask for your transcripts and they will look over your transcripts and say, hey, you actually need, we're going to accept you, but you actually need a couple more classes in your content, if that's history, or we need to get you in some teaching classes. But for the sake of this, we just need you to have a bachelor's degree. And then decide what you want to teach. I started out coming out of high school, I wanted to be an elementary school teacher, and UNCG did a great job and put me in an elementary classroom. And I said, oh man, maybe that's a little too young for me. So we bumped me up to a high school history teacher, and I loved it. So decide what you want to teach. Choose and apply to a teaching program. So again, I'm sure you all will be excited to apply to UNC Wilmington after their presentation. And once you complete their program, and they will give you a standard course of study, let you know when you can graduate or finish this residency, you will then need to be certified by the state of North Carolina. So that can look like a test called the Praxis. It can also look like, I call it an EdTap, but it's an EdTPA, and they will kind of talk about what that looks like and which programs have which. I had to take the Praxis core, and I took the history Praxis. So here are shortage areas in the state of North Carolina: elementary education, special education, math and science in all grades. But what this doesn't mean is these are the only areas we need teachers. We need teachers everywhere. So if you're someone on the call that's saying, hey, I'm actually not interested in any of this, I want to be a physical education teacher, we still need you. But this is just a short list of where our shortage areas are in the state of North Carolina. This is the UNC Wilmington piece that I will not touch because they are the experts, but they will talk to you about how to get licensed through their residency program in their portion. But my fun part is to tell you the money that I can give you. So the money that I can give you, because you're on this call, I can give you up to $100 reimbursed for your application fee. So it's not just applications, it can also be when you're requesting your transcripts, it can be test prep things. All you need to do is send us receipts, and I am more than happy to give you $100 to reimburse you. I also want to plug in, we just posted 20 scholarships, 20 scholarships on our Teach NC scholarship page at $1,000 each. So please take advantage. There's so much money on the table for you all to become the best teachers that you possibly can. And I want to give away all of that money. So make sure you create an account on teachnc.org and check out all the scholarships that we have available. And please don't let me keep the money. I gotta give it away somehow, okay? Now, for the main event, I'm going to pass it over to our friends at UNC Wilmington to introduce themselves and start talking about their residency licensure programs. If you have questions throughout, that's totally fine. Feel free to drop them in the chat or in the Q&A, and if I'm able to answer, I'll do that, and if not, we will wait until the end. So I will pass it over to you all. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, and welcome. We're so glad you could join us this evening for our Become a Teacher at UNCW webinar. My name is Dean Heath, and I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Ms. Nicole Getze. Together, we're here to help you explore your path to becoming a licensed teacher through UNCW's Watson College of Education. Whether you're just starting your teaching journey, considering a career change, or somewhere in between, we know there's a lot to think about, and we're here to make that process clear and accessible as possible. During this session, we're going to walk you through the clinical residency licensure pathway, as well as the Master of Arts and Teaching opportunities. If you're looking for a more traditional undergrad educator preparation program, I'll be back with Teach NC to talk about that in June. Like Nicole said, feel free to drop questions in the chat as we go. We'll make sure to leave time at the end for Q&A. So at this time, I'd like to welcome my friend Nicole to join us as well. Nicole, thank you for being here this evening.
Of course. So, Dean, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with y'all. A little bit about me and my background. So, I'm Nicole Gatesy. I work in what's known as the Watson College of Education Office of Professional Experiences. My background is in elementary education. That was my undergraduate degree. I got to do student teaching in a kindergarten classroom quite a few years ago. And now I really enjoy helping all of our teachers who are looking to make a career change. So if you have an undergraduate degree in, something that's not related to teaching, but you have a passion for teaching, I love connecting those, anyone in that situation with a program that's going to help meet their needs and get them into a classroom. So I'm going to start tonight with actually talking about some of the licensure information that Nicole already shared with you, but go into just a few more pieces about it because what I have heard, the feedback I've heard from teachers as they're getting into the classroom for the first time, and don't have that teaching license yet, I've heard that there's just so much information coming at you and just so many pieces. So to me, it's always helpful to kind of go over that information first. And then we're going to share all of the things that UNCW has to offer you as you're on that pathway. So let's get started. Like I said, licensure information first. If you are new to the classroom and don't hold a teaching license yet, you are going to have what's known as a provisional teaching license. So if you're already teaching and looking to find a program, these will sound very familiar to you. If you're looking to take that first job, this is what the district will present you with. So the first option would be what's called a permit to teach. So this license is valid for one school year. It gets you in the door and into your very first classroom. The next possible option that they could choose is known as an emergency license. It's also valid for one school year. And I should mention both of these licenses just require an undergraduate degree. The difference with the emergency license is that you do also have to have 18 credits of relevant coursework, and your district will work with you to determine that. Once you get to the end of that school year on the emergency license, that's when you must make sure that you're ready to hold what's known as a residency license. So that license is valid for one year. It can be renewed twice, so you can have it for a total of 3 years. And your EPP, or what that means is your teacher licensure program that you're going to attend, will sign an RL form after checking your eligibility. So speaking of eligibility, that's on the next slide. So to be eligible to hold a residency license, these are the four things. You have to be a lead teacher in a public school classroom. You will have had to enroll in a licensure program, and that's what we're going to share with you tonight are your options. You must have a 2.7 undergraduate GPA and 24 hours of relevant coursework to the area you're teaching, or have passed the scores on the licensure exams for the area you're teaching. Now, I do want to note that if you do not have a 2.7 GPA on your undergraduate GP or on your undergraduate degree, this is not a barrier to getting you in the classroom on a residency license. We will work with you on ways that you can remediate that GPA. So once you've got Oh, yeah, you can go ahead. So once you've got that residency license, you're enrolled in a program, what happens? So you take all of your coursework, you get to graduation, then you're ready to do what's called clearing the residency license. So to do that, you've got to, of course, complete your licensure program. And then as Nicole mentioned, there's some other steps too. So you've got to have passing scores on EdTPA and passing scores on the licensure exams for your area. I'm going to just quickly give you some tools that will be helpful for those pieces, just so you have all of the information going into it. On the next slide, you'll see that there are actually 3 different links that you can look at when you get these slides later. The first link is going to be to my office's website, where we share all of the information that you need about licensure exams and testing. The second 2 links are to the Pearson website and the ETS Praxis website. Those are going to be where you actually go to see what exams are required for your area and where you'll go to register. I always tell all of our students too that those exams or those websites actually have exam prep materials that you can check out as well. On the next slide, so at TPA, you might hear about it as a licensure requirement. I thought it would just be helpful to kind of share a little bit about what it is. So EdTPA is a performance-based assessment that is a licensure requirement for all teachers in North Carolina. It integrates what you do in the classroom: planning, instruction, and assessment. And it must be submitted for a score, when you're ready to submit your exam. And the Watson College of Education has developed a comprehensive system of support for submitting EdTPA, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. My recommendation for all teachers considering residency licensure and looking at the different program options out there is to ask them what type of support they're going to provide you for submitting EdTPA. That's going to be so important to you as you look to the end of your program and getting ready to clear that residency license, and you've got to submit that assessment. So now that we've kind of talked about that, what it'll look like in your school, with getting the license and clearing the license, let's look at what we have to offer you at UNCW. So if you are considering coming to us, these are the areas that we have what's called a Master of Arts in Teaching program. A Master of Arts in Teaching, or MAT, is a graduate level program. We have these in art, elementary education, ESL, or English as a second language, middle grades education, physical education and health, secondary education, special education, both GC and AC, which are 2 different licensure options for special ed, and also world languages, or what's known as Spanish education. With all of these programs, you will earn a master's degree and be able to clear that residency license. When you complete an MAT program, it's important to note that you'll get what's known as an M-level teaching license or a master's level teaching license. Now, 2 of our programs also offer a shorter program option. That's actually on the next slide. That's called and then they're called graduate certificate programs. So if you are an ESL teacher or a secondary teacher, you also have the option to choose to do just an 18 credit certificate that will clear your residency license. The really neat thing about these programs is that if you finish that 18 credit certificate and say, you know what, I do want the master's degree, you can then finish the rest of the coursework to finish the MAT program and get that graduate degree and that M-level license. But it's your choice with those programs. So if you're teaching in one of those areas that I just shared, we really want you to join us at UNCW. The Watson College of Education offers high quality programs that are going to prepare you to be a leader in the classroom. Our faculty, many of whom you see here in this photo, are dedicated, and I love that all of our faculty want to see you succeed in the classroom. All of our programs include field experiences and a full-time internship that'll be completed right in your classroom. And we also have an extensive partnership network, and we offer post-graduation support to our students. Dean, interrupt me if there's anything else that you want me to share in there.
Yeah, we don't do everything. You want to be a theater teacher, we really don't have anything for you. You want to be a CTE business teacher, again, we really can't help you. What we do very well. And part of that is the post-graduation support. We want to make sure that you're mentored and supported while you're in our classes and the entire time you have a classroom of your own. It's one of those things where, you know, there's so many different ways that you start your career, so many ways you finish your career, but it's what you're doing while you're in your career where you're supporting students that makes a huge difference in their lives. And that's where we want to make sure that you have the ability to make a great impact on others.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dean. So if you do come to UNCW, and you're a residency teacher enrolled in a program in Watson, I wanted to make sure you knew that you will take all of your courses online. Most of the coursework will be asynchronous, so that means you will complete it on your own time. But with our very small class sizes, your faculty will be in touch with you frequently to offer support. Um, Another thing that we offer is personalized residency licensure support and advising. So that means me, really. So that's one of the really neat things about my job is that I will be with you up through, from that point when you are considering a residency license and looking at your eligibility and finding a program, really up through your full-time internship and graduation. And I will be with you every step of the way to support you and answer questions. That's something really unique that we offer. Also, you will have a faculty member who's your advisor, and they'll assist you with applying to your specific program and help you with your class registration each semester. So we really do work to offer you that personalized experience. As I already mentioned, all of our programs include support for submitting EdTPA, and something really neat that all of our programs do is they embed practice for EdTPA into your coursework to help you prepare for submitting that assessment before you even get there. And we'll look at that a little bit more in depth in just a minute. But the other thing I wanted to mention here was that all of our programs include field experiences, and these enable you to connect and practice what you're learning in your UNCW classes right in your own classroom. So, all of our programs also include a full-time internship, or you may know that as student teaching. Again, that's completed right in your own classroom as a residency teacher, but we will make sure that you have support from a UNCW faculty member who's known as your university supervisor, and you'll also have a mentor teacher in your school. You will have a mentor teacher in your school throughout your whole program, and as a beginning teacher, but especially during the internship, they will work with you specifically on class assignments and, reflecting on and improving upon your teaching. So I wanted to share a little bit about the EdTPA support that we offer. So we have a EdTPA support team that can be reached anytime through our EdTPA email address. And members of the EdTPA team specialize in different pieces of EdTPA. So the great thing about having this central email address is that, your question might be about content or technology, and you're always going to be sure that the correct person is answering your specific question and getting you the answer that you need. All students completing EdTPA enroll in a Canvas course for support, and that includes a calendar that'll keep you on track with preparing your submission. We also have overviews, materials, and other resources related to each of the 3 EdTPA tasks. Our team has developed a search engine to help you navigate our EdTPA resources. Great thing that we offer to all students enrolled in our programs is that we give you a $300 voucher that covers the cost of your EdTPA registration and submission. Additionally, each semester, our EdTPA support team will provide support sessions. So you'll get a calendar of EdTPA support available to you. This includes Q&As for each EdTPA task, half-day support sessions. They also will do individual meetings with you as needed. And then our support team organizes a submission day event each semester where they'll actually submit or assist you with submitting EdTPA from start to finish with everything you need that day. So then outside of the Watson College of Education, there are lots of other UNCW campus resources that are available to you, and you can take advantage of these even as an online learner, who may not be local to our area. So Randall Library is our library on campus, and they just opened an expansion, and they have librarians available to assist you with online research and checking out materials. Online students are also able to take advantage of professional development opportunities and can work with the University Learning Center for writing support. Our Career Center offers opportunities for networking, conference attendance, and grants and global opportunities. And Dean, is there anything else I'm missing there?
Well, I want to touch on something that I find incredibly valuable here is the writing lab. So between my undergrad and my graduate for my first graduate program, it had been many years that I didn't write anything of real substance, and that was one area I was really apprehensive about when going into grad school. Was I'm out of date on best practices. I don't know all the different formatting changes that have happened over the years. Well, the great thing about our writing lab is you can literally schedule a one-on-one with one of our writing coaches at any point during the process. If you're brainstorming, if you are in the middle of writing, if you have what you think is your finished product, they will take a look at it and give you feedback. You can schedule Zooms where you meet with them synchronously. You can send them your stuff and they'll send you revisions back. But it's great to know that even if you might be an amazing writer, I was not. That even if you are not as great of a writer as you think you should be, there are resources that are face to face, online, synchronous, asynchronous. We want to make sure that you've got the skills to be successful. And there are some areas that you may have a little anxiety. These resources should help alleviate some of those points of tension.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Dean, do you want to do this slide as
Yeah,
well?
I'll take it. So tuition is charged based on a couple of factors. Number one, are you an in-state or out-of-state resident for tuition purposes? And the state of North Carolina uses a single platform for that. That's the RDS system. And then the second way that they determine tuition is based on face-to-face or distance education courses. So if you are an in-state student taking distance ed courses, like Nicole said this program was, you're looking at $328 right about per credit hour. If you're coming in from out of state, it's substantially more because they discount it for North Carolina residents. A lot of the additional costs are pretty minimal. You may have some books that you have to buy, but there are always opportunities to get used versions or loose leaf versions or digital versions or rent them, whatever the case may be. And for those of you that are interested in not having any sort of loan to pay back, we actually have something called Teal Pay where you can split your bill into as many as 5 payments, depending on what time of the semester you register and get a bill. So you can actually split your payments up, or you can take out loans if you like, but there are options for everyone. Nicole, can I just keep going?
Absolutely.
Okay, great, great. So we raise money for scholarships in the Watson College of Education. A little bit of my check goes to scholarships because I believe in them and I think they make a difference in people's lives. And we gave away almost $160,000 during the last academic year just for education students. So apply, apply, apply. I do also want to mention that through Teach NC, we had 3 students, I think it was 1 year ago, that each got a $5,000 scholarship from Teach NC. And before that, we had a student get a $10,000 scholarship from Teach NC. So the opportunities with Teach NC are incredible. I can't talk enough about the great partnerships that we have here. But just like I tell all students, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't apply for just these couple of scholarships. Apply for all kinds of scholarships. Also, find out what opportunities are available through the school district or county that you're in. They may have a forgivable loans opportunity through the county. They may have a pot of money that they can help you with as it pertains to paying for school. Just Find out what's available for you there. But then don't discount all the other scholarships that are in the world as well. Every little bit helps. Yeah, $100 here, $1,000 there, they all add up. They all make a huge difference in your financial pocket.
So I'll jump back in because I wanted to share some quotes with y'all from our recent graduates. So Stephanie was a student in our MAT elementary program who I worked with from start to finish as she took her teaching job and graduated from our MAT program. And I asked her to share a quote, and she said, I was enrolled at UNCW to acquire my MAT in elementary education as a residency licensure teacher, and I could not have asked for a better experience. The support was overall phenomenal, from the professors to licensure navigation to EdTPA, start to finish, even the submission. There was not a moment during my enrollment that I felt alone or unable to ask for help. The biggest support I found was the TPA submission when we got a day on campus specifically to help ensure all of the components of the TPA were successfully uploaded and formatted correctly. And Stephanie did not live close to campus, but chose to drive in to take advantage of those resources. And I know she was really glad that she did. On the next slide, I also have a quote from a recent grad from our middle grades MAT program. Alex said, the support I received during the MAT middle grades program was truly exceptional. From EdTPA guidance to licensure help, I always felt like I had a team behind me, especially thanks to your or my alternative licensure support coordinator, ongoing encouragement and clear feedback. So I just thought that it would be helpful to share, some feedback from some of our recent grads who were really glad that they chose to come to UNCW. So we wanted to share a few next steps with you. And then as Dean and Nicole shared, we are happy to answer all the questions that you have as well. But a few next steps, if you're interested in joining us at UNCW, would be to check the program application deadlines. So if you are looking to start a program this fall, most of our graduate programs have a July 1 application date. Um, if you're looking to start next fall or next winter, I'm sorry, then you're going to want to apply in the fall by November 1st. I also have a link here. When you get the slides later, you can check out our UNCW Residency Licensure website. That's going to have a link to every program that I shared with you tonight. You can go there and learn more about your specific program. You can meet the program coordinator. That's also going to have my contact information if you want to connect further with me. Another thing that I always encourage teachers to do when you get your first teaching job and you think, okay, now I need to get enrolled in a program, I'm going to need this residency license. Check your residency licensure eligibility early, just in case you have things that you need to work on, you have additional requirements that you need to meet. And I am happy to take a look at your transcript and talk through those pieces with you so that you can plan ahead and be ready for that residency license when you need it.
Hey, look, it's
So
us.
I was going to say, we'll end here with our contact information, and we're happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
Thank you all so much. Please drop your questions in the chat or in the Q&A. We have one so far, and the question is, I'm currently a lead teacher, but at a private school. Are there more steps to take for a licensure in this case?
So, Dean, are you okay if I share a little bit about that?
Please go ahead. I'll add in any added benefit after if there's any left.
Okay, so the one thing that I can share is that at UNCW, we are only able to place students for field experiences and internships in public school classrooms. So we would still be so happy to work with you. We would just need for you to step away from the classroom for time each semester to do those field experiences and internships. And that's something where I am happy to talk with anyone on a case by case basis to understand what that might look like and how that could work for you. And Dean, if you have anything else to share, maybe you can add to that as well.
You know, it's amazing. I was going to say that exact thing.
Okay, well then good. I'm glad I covered it.
What if
I'll
you
say, oh, sorry. I was gonna say I have had teachers in private school absolutely make it work. So I don't ever want that to be something that's a discouraging factor.
What if you are a long-term substitute teacher? Can I still qualify for the program?
Absolutely. So the wonderful thing about our MAT programs is that you can start them when you have a teaching job. You can start them if you're a TA. You can start them if you don't have a job yet, but are thinking about getting that job. You can start them while you're in a long-term sub role. So we will meet you exactly where you are. We will work with you. Like I said, everything we can do on a case-by-case individual basis and make it work for you. So with many of our long-term subs, say you're a long-term sub in an elementary school and you are working on that elementary license, we can usually place you right in your school of employment for your field experiences. Again, that's going to be on a case-by-case basis, but just an example where we have definitely made it work.
How long does it take to go through the master's program?
So the master's programs vary. Some of them people will jump in with both feet and they'll be done in a year, whereas others they're working full time. They take their time, and it takes them longer. Um, it's really one of those. It depends on the individual case. If you are working full time, I don't recommend taking three classes at a time. But you know yourself better than I do. We like to say that it's anywhere from 1 year to three, but again, it depends on the individual.
I
That's
cur-
where it's wonderful to have an advisor who is your graduate program coordinator, and they can work with you each semester on the pathway that's going to work best for you. Because all of our faculty, and me in my role, we all acknowledge when we're working with you that teachers have a lot on their plates when you are in your first teaching job and trying to do that coursework at the same time. So your faculty advisors will talk with you about that and make sure that they're setting you up for success each semester with a load of coursework that you can handle.
I currently have a bachelor's, master's, and a doctorate. That's phenomenal. Congratulations. I wanted to see if there was a way to have someone to look at my transcripts to see what I'm eligible for.
Absolutely. I'm happy to do that if you want to email me. I always tell people just give me an undergrad, or I'm sorry, an unofficial transcript to begin with. If you have copies, you're welcome to just send that to me and we can schedule a meeting on Zoom and kind of talk about, what your interests are as far as teaching and what you might be eligible for.
What if you started a program years ago but didn't complete it? So the direction I'm going with that question, and please correct me, would you want them to turn in that transcript, number one, if they did not complete the program, and then where would they go from there if you do?
Um, So again, I'm kind of trying to understand the question, but like we would look at your transcript from the program that you started previously, and some of that could definitely be counted as, I mean, depending on the courses, but be included as possible relevant coursework for that residency licensure eligibility, like I mentioned. So that's where some of that coursework could be a really big help to you. And then we would just help you find the program that's the best fit for what you need now, given your current situation. And hopefully that's the best answer I can give. And I'm happy to kind of provide more context if if I can.
So, real quick, most graduate schools, our graduate school at UNCW included, has a time limit on how long courses are valid. I mean, if you were to take a class from 5, 10, 20 years ago, that same class is likely to be different today. So, that, again, that's a case by case basis. But if it's longer than 5 years, there's a chance that we cannot use it. But again, let's take a look.
Does the UNCW program allow you to work as a teacher in the classroom while completing the program?
Yep. So that's what we were saying, where we will support you with the license that you'll need, with your district while you're teaching in the classroom and enrolled in a program at the same time. Your program will have field experiences and an internship that you'll complete right in your own classroom. The one important thing to always keep in mind is that there needs to be a match between what you're teaching in your classroom and the program that you're enrolled in. That's required for licensure. It's also required so that we can place you and just really overall so that you can be successful, in getting the license that you really need. So that's how you're able to be a teacher in your own classroom while you're enrolled in the program.
And one of the things that I like is the skills that you're learning while you're in the program and you've got a classroom full of students are applicable right away. So the things
Mhm.
that you learn on Monday, you might be implementing into your class on Tuesday.
Well, and so many of our students are teachers or TAs in their own classrooms. And so I think that, I hear over and over how they can learn, our students learn from each other in their classes too. If you have something going on in your classroom, you might have a student in one of your classes who's been working on the same thing, and finding those connections, I think, is what's so helpful and just really neat about us having smaller class sizes and the ability for everyone to get to know each other so well.
If I am a UNCW alum, do I still need to mail the transcript in?
We've got
So
it.
I'll give you a couple answers to that question. So, if you want me to look at your coursework for residency licensure eligibility, if you want to have that conversation with me, if you're a recent grad, I can probably find your degree audit. If you graduated quite some time ago, our system has changed, so there's a certain point where I won't be able to find it, and you will need to email me like an unofficial copy of your transcript. But then the good news is that when you're applying to the graduate school, usually you do not need to share a transcript. You can include an email that you're a UNCW grad and they'll be able to get that for you. Dean, did I say all that right?
100%. I love it.
If I had an emergency license, but I had to quit due to life and COVID, but I'm ready to get back in all the way, does that disqualify me?
Absolutely not. You'll just have to jump in right on that residency license. So that means at the same time that you take a job, you'll have to be enrolled in a program. Um, So, with every teacher, once you have that year on an emergency license, whether it was this year or 5 years ago, that next year that you're teaching, you have to be sure that you're ready for the residency license. So that's where we're happy to review your transcript, see if there's anything else you would need to do first, just to make sure you're ready. And then, you should be all set to take your job and have a residency license.
Are there any more questions? These are awesome questions, y'all. Well, as Dean mentioned, we are going to host another session in June, and be sure to send that out to you all. And I will promise I may do it tonight, but please don't hold me. But definitely tomorrow, I will send out these slides with both Dean and Nicole's contact information, so that you can go back through and let us know if you have any questions. I do want to plug one more time. Please make an account on Teach NC to be eligible for that $100 in reimbursement and all of the scholarship money we have available. We also have a jobs board on Teach NC. So the counties in the state of North Carolina that have open positions, they funnel right into Teach NC. We house that. So if you are looking for a job so that you can apply to UNCW, that's a great place to start. Dean, do you have anything before we end?
Sure. I just want to tell everybody thank you for joining us. And we hope this session helped you better understand the many ways we can help you become a teacher through UNCW. Something that Nicole said that I always like to talk about is that you don't have to navigate this journey alone. Everybody on our team is here to help you every step of the way. And we hope to see you at UNCW soon, whether that's face-to-face, virtual, a phone call, an email. We want to connect with you. Thank you, Nicole, for spending some time with us tonight. And thank you, Nicole, for spending some time with us tonight.
Two Nicoles and a Dean. Thank you all so much. We hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Bye bye.